So we'll talk first about the elemental body. So from space to earth, here you see the space being a more subtle element, and earth being a more gross or physically dense element. So we'll talk about them in reverse. So we'll talk about them from the most gross to the most subtle. So the earth element represents your physical body, so your actual physical tissues, and is connected to your sense of smell. So if you want to connect to your earth body as quickly and efficiently as possible, bring your attention to your sense of smell. And by smelling, you'll become aware of your immediate environment and your physical body. And as you can probably tell, the earth body is the most gross of these elements, like our actual physical tissues make that up. And then you also have a water body. So you have an emotional or an energetic body, according to yoga and Ayurveda. And this is your emotions and your feeling life. So this is associated with your sense of taste. And there's lots of information that Ayurveda provides to us about the sense of taste and working with our sense of taste to regulate mood and emotion, and to help us begin to have more a stronger digestion simply by bringing conscious attention to taste. And we'll get a little bit more into why digestion is so important. And then we'll move into the mental body, or the fire element, which is associated to your sense of sight. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about sight and fire and how they relate to each other. But this is, we've heard things like this before, like the eyes, the eyes are the windows to the mind, that we can sort of see and assess where someone's mind is at through looking into their eyes. And also we can begin to contain and, in a sense, navigate the mind through containing the sense of sight and being able to direct that sense of sight inward. Then we move to the air element and your wisdom body. So this is sort of where we're getting into territory that isn't necessarily covered in the medical system as we know it, that it in some ways directly impacts the health of your physical body, that the area of the heart and the wisdom body is equally as important to be addressed for overall health of the system in a human life. So by working with your sense of touch, having healthy touch in your life, and working with air and moving the breath and feeling breath touch in all different places in your body as you move it, we can really begin to connect to our intuition and our intuitive or wisdom body. And then we get into the most subtle element of space, or our relational body. So this is connected to your sense of hearing, and through beginning to train our sense of hearing and our attention, we can experience something that's a little bit deeper and a little bit more subtle, something like listening. So this relational capacity to deeply listen and experience intimacy and connection with other people, and how important that is, again, just like the health of our physical tissues, for our overall health as a human. So you can see that yoga sort of lays out this way of thinking of ourselves that is multidimensional and is really touching aspects that are beyond what we can see and know about our health in the physical body, but to things like our relationships and our relationship to our intuition having an impact directly on our health. So in our session today, we'll be sort of zooming in on the fire element and talking about why fire is at the center of our practice. So in this hierarchy here of gross to subtle, you can see that fire is at the center. And when it comes to our practices of yoga, meditation, mindfulness, or simply just health and well-being, balanced lifestyle practices, we're really working with our mind. And so by thinking about the fire element in its physical form, and also in the way that it manifests in our physical body, we can start to have some real actionable things that we can do in daily life to impact your health, because again, fire is at the center. So it helps take the aspects of the more subtle aspects of the more subtle things and feed them to the lower, the water and the earth element. But also it helps us to transmute and transform aspects of our emotional life and our physical body that really cause us to have struggles in our mental health. So by tending fire in practice, we can begin to build an internal heat that allows us to digest our food and life experience and keep the flow of energy moving efficiently in our body.